Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we're asking a question about this over here. Forget that it's always flipped for myself. Doctor Strange 3. So, Doctor Strange 3 has long been kind of that rumored, that's going to be the movie besides Spider-Man Brand New Day that we get in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. That's actually been some why I've speculated before that we haven't seen Doctor Strange for Doomsday. He's off doing something else with Clea. Now we have a potential title. I say a potential title, I take this as a rumor with a notable grain of salt with it. There have been some other potential titles tossed out there as well before, but this is the most recent. And it's an interesting title, and I want to kind of touch on this and say, what does this say about Doctor Strange 3? What it's going to be? Because a title like Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity is, well, a lot for a title. So we've gone from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and now Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity. First off, I think the most obvious part is incursions. This is going to be a multiversal story, and it should be a multiversal story, possibly taking place during the time frame of Doomsday, in my opinion, to really set up what Doctor Strange has been doing, and maybe even establish a connection between Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. Because in the Secret Wars comics, the most recent one, Jonathan Hickman run from 2010, I believe it was, Doctor Strange actually teams up with Doom. He realizes, like, okay, this isn't going to play out any other way. We have to save everything. And then he, like I said, works with Doom. He becomes kind of Doom's sheriff, helping keep the order of this battle world. Now, I don't necessarily know that they're going to go down this route, but I do think it could go down the route that Strange ends up with the same solution that Doom does, that the universe can't be saved, and while Strange might not actively be destroying the universe, Doom, I could see actively destroying the universe, Strange realizes that instead of looking to save all the universes, he has to look to create something new after. And that could be kind of an idea for this film. It would be a potentially for sort of negative, darker film, again, in between. And that's based off of my assumption that Doomsday is going to have kind of an ending where Doctor Doom wins. So what would happen in Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity? Besides incursions, and I do think it would be a lot of incursions, I think we're going to see Strange and Clea try and come up with solutions to prevent incursions from happening, but more so when an incursion has happened, to look for solutions to fix it. Because one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And I think that we could see those two characters trying to do the same thing over and over and over again and not getting the results they want. Now, they might not be getting the results they want because of outside interference. Because Doom wants to have a different result. And it could be then that Strange realizes either, well, I can't do this, or somebody else is messing with it, so I need to find a different solution. And that solution could be saving a pocket of, say, the main MCU universe into Battleworld that Doom didn't intend. Because that would be a good way to bring some characters across, potentially who we think die in Doomsday, to play parts in in Secret Wars. So, for example, let's say we think that all of Sam Wilson's Avengers team dies in Doomsday, or the Fantastic Four die in Doomsday. I don't think any of us would expect that those characters wouldn't show up in Secret Wars. Especially if you're watching these videos, you kind of know some of the theories around stuff like that already. But for a general movie-going audience, it would be like, okay, they're gone. They're done. Why did they... And this would probably be more with... I think it'd be more likely the Avengers, where it'd be like, okay, they just put this team together and they got rid of it. What are they doing? But we already know the characters. I don't think they would do it with the Fantastic Four. One, because people kind of expect the Fantastic Four to be around, and we were just introduced to them, or will be. So, Strange could try and find a way to save some of humanity. To me, I think that makes sense. I still love the idea of the void at the end of time, that being where Battle World takes place, because it's at the end of time. It's outside of space and time and the universe. It's just kind of this dumping ground. And so it exists separately. I could see that being an interesting kind of way of handling it, because this would also then allow them to play around with maybe some more of the X-Men characters, if they wanted to bring back those characters, bring back John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, if they wanted to do that, bring back lots of different characters, because you could be touching on different parts of the multiverse. Or this could get really strange within the darkness of the Dark Dimension and Dormammu, and really working through that realm, I guess I could call it, where things don't make sense and flow in different ways. And it could kind of be this descent as they see kind of incursions occurring, and the Dark Dimension, I suspect, starting to bleed into other realities. A descent into the Dark Dimension and into kind of the heart of the Dark Dimension to try and stop whatever it is in the Dark Dimension that's causing incursions. Whether it be something like maybe Chthon is tied to there, which would tie into the Darkhold or something like that. That could be an interesting element to the story. Now, this is obviously just a rumor. So Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity could not be the movie that's coming out in that time slot, or that movie slot. I do think that it will be a Doctor Strange film. It makes way too much sense for it to be Doctor Strange, based off of what was set up at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I think there's a lot of good story to tell with Doctor Strange here that can really kind of help bridge that gap between things, almost playing that Ant-Man role of being able to come out and help again after the transition has happened to Secret Wars. So let me know your thoughts on this rumor down in the comment section below. Do you like that title? What would you like to see Doctor Strange doing in an upcoming film? Whether it is in Doomsday, or kind of that more likely, whether it is a Doctor Strange 3 all on its own. Drop that in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this content, please give the video a thumbs up. We'll be talking about this news more on next week's episode of the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. But if you want to catch up on the news and rumors and things like that, you can do that every Sunday night, Monday, for your commute into work, or just to get your brain going in the morning and get some fun Marvel news. You can find the podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and we appreciate everybody who has. And then click that notification bell, followed by clicking on the podcast tab. Or you can search for 10 Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. But with that, we'll see you next time.